I am ready.
Okay. Well, I'm just getting your voice to see the levels it'll give. So, speak.
Yes, Jake. I will speak.
I will speak.
I will speak.
My name's Shep. I will speak.
My name is Shepherd.
Oh God! Please stop. Kill me now, God.
You haven't used that phrase since I invited you to my wedding. Wait, no. I'm pretty sure the phrase you used was "our friendship is over."
All right. We'll be starting in 3.
Coca-Cola, sour yet tasty. I feel
Hey everybody, and welcome to Season 2, Episode 2 of the Animation Podcast. I'm Jake, and joining me is my co-host, the top 1%, Shep.
Konbanwa, Jake-sama.
Konbanwa, Shep-sama. Good evening. Good evening.
I've been practicing my Japanese.
Yeah, that was trash. Alright, let's get into the news. Go ahead, Shep.
Alrighty, so this first news article is something that's near and dear to me because Front Wing's Grisaya Phantom Trigger game is getting a TV anime.
Why is this near and dear to you?
Because I love the Grisaya series.
Is this the fruit of Grisaya?
It's the Fruit of Grisaya, the Eat It of Grisaya, and I think there was like a small Ovis series, the Labyrinth of Grisaya.
Ain't all these girls be effed up in the head?
Yeah, but this is an entirely new set of girls.
Oh my.
Because Front Wing announced on Saturday that its Phantom Trigger game is getting the television anime. They teased it earlier in the week. They said they were going to make an important announcement in Akihabara to commemorate the release of the third game.
So they haven't made the announcement yet, but there's an article about it?
No, they made the announcement.
Hashtag fake news.
But this actually takes place after the first 3 games and the first 2 anime series. So
oh wow.
I'm really looking forward to this because they do great work over there at Front Wing with the Grisaya series, and the fact that I'm going to get a whole new cast of pretty girls that can kill me, it's going to be pretty good. Pretty hot.
Well, on to way better visual novels. Konosuba is getting a PS4 and Vita. Vita. That's right. Hell yeah. PS Vita. Living strong. Is getting a visual novel opening movie posted. And it's also getting a game that's supposed to come out on September 11th, but only in Japan, which that kind of sucks because I would really like to play it, and because I don't use my Vita that often, so I'd like to use it with this game. But I can't read Japanese that well, so.
Oh my goodness. The game tells an original story about a cursed panty-stealing ring?
Yeah, dude. Awesome. That's what the ring should have been about. Maybe that's what the ring was about, but everybody just ended up dying before she could get their panties.
It's because they were so embarrassed because they couldn't be a bride anymore.
I think it was because everybody was just sitting there all calm and collected, and she was embarrassed out of her mind.
But everyone else had a calm look on their face.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And to sadder news, Artland Animation Studio will be filing for bankruptcy after being in production since 1978. They made shows like Seven Mortal Sins and Mushishi, and they also were helped make animes like anime such as Super Dimension Fortress Macross and Legend of the Galactic Heroes. Shout out to my boy Josh.
I just want to say that Mushishi, Super Dimension Fortress Macross, and Legend of the Galactic Heroes were all good series that they made before they hit financial trouble, and Seven Mortal Sins was kind of like, this is the last piece of garbage that we could possibly get.
What's weird though is just 3 years ago, or 3 or 4 years ago, they were making $2.3 million a year, And now they're 260 million yen a year, 2.3 million US. But
Yeah, that is surprising. It's not too often you see that quick of a decline.
yeah, they're filing bankruptcy with proceedings with a total of about 298 million yen. So they're 2.6 million dollars in debt filing for bankruptcy. Pretty wild. Hopefully, have you seen Mushishi?
It's on my list. I've been watching a lot of garbage. It's well, not necessarily garbage. I've been watching Romeo and Juliet recently.
So garbage.
Have you seen the Romeo and Juliet anime?
No, but I bet you it's just as good as Dog and Scissors.
It's much better than Dog and Scissors.
And more on that later.
But more on that later.
All right, Shep. What's our last news article?
Okay, our last news article is an Animation original news story. Headline: Rin Tosaka wins 4th annual Best Girl contest on AnimeBracket.com. So, every year, Anime Bracket holds a Best Girl competition where they basically just they take hundreds of waifus from, I would assume, hundreds of series, and pit them against each other in a 1v1 where people vote and they move on through the brackets. Whoever gets the highest vote wins. And this year, in Best Girl 4, a certain salty railgun, Rin Tosaka started in Group B and advanced to the finals by beating Chinami Oka from Golden Time, Stella Vermilion from Chivalry of a Failed Knight, Diana Cavendish from My Little Witch Academia, Ritsu Tainaka from K-On!, Ishiki Iroha from Snafu, her love rival, Saber from the Fate series,
What the fuck?
and Suruga Kanbaru from the Bakemono Gatari series. She then took on Ryoko Matoi from Kill la Kill to advance to the grand finals of the contest. Her opponent in the grand finals, Yui Gahama from My Teen Romantic Comedy Snafu, started in Group C, where she beat Orehime Inoue from Bleach.
Orehime
Orehime Inoue. Chihiro Ogino from Spirited Away.
Mm-hmm.
Ayase Aragaki from Oriemo. Sumugi Kotobuki from K-On!, Karen Araragi from the Bakemono Gatari series, Taiga Aisaka from Toradora, and Rem from ReZero.
Rigged.
She faced Shinobu Oshino from the Bakemono Gatari series to advance to the grand finals. The final vote count was Rin Tosaka, 13,733 votes versus Yui Gahama's 7,935. People are already speculating what next year's contest will be called, and my favorite so far is Best Girl 5 Unlimited Saltworks. This has been Animation Original News, and I will see y'all next time.
You should have said something cool like sounding off or some shit like that.
Well, there's only so much cool that I can pull out of me, and that's about as much as you're gonna get.
You know the only reason Rin won
Was because of the salt.
No.
That people who wanted Rem, Taiga, Karen, Shinobu, they were all salty that they got beat.
No, because Yui's trash and that Rin is the bone of my side.
Well, speaking of trash, Yui's love rival, Yukino Shida, was actually not present in the tournament, but Komachi Hikigaya, Haruno Yukino Shida, her older sister, so fine, and Iroha Ishiki were, because Yukino is absolute trash, and she didn't deserve a spot.
Shep,
So I'm glad that she got excluded.
we all know that they don't include the waifus of in the tournament that actually win in the show. So
But
it's okay.
Rin did win, didn't she?
Fake news.
I'm pretty sure. I mean, this is clearly biased news because I just wanted to brag about my girl placing second.
Fake news. Second. All right,
Yeah.
moving on.
You couldn't overcome the mass amounts of salt.
Moving on.
Moving on.
Moving on. Okay, we're gonna move on to the anime discussion, and we're gonna start off with a short this season that is trash.
No, you don't get to say that.
It's so bad. Okay, Netsuzou Trap, NTR. If you don't know what the show's about, it's about two girls and their boyfriends, and they go on double dates. But while the boyfriends have a good time, unaware that their two girlfriends, one of them is basically sexually harassing the other.
No, they're just bi-curious and they're more interested in each other than they are their boyfriends because her kiss is so much softer and sweeter than her boyfriend's. Which makes this series absolutely nutty because it's all about girls making out.
I just think it was really weird how forward the one girl was. It just seemed like she was just too much. It was just too much. It just seemed kind of forced.
Okay, so here's what I think this show is going to be. This show is going to be exactly what I thought it was going to be, which was just a bunch of girls making out for the spectacle of two girls making out, even though there is the potential that they can do something like Scum's Wish, where they can explore deeper concepts of love, lust, and other like personal things that younger people deal with at this age. But I doubt that we're gonna get that.
No, we're just gonna get cheap lesbian action.
Hey, any lesbian action is good lesbian action.
Oh my god, y'all just need to chill. But yeah,
What about y'all?
overall, the show, I really don't have any desire to really watch it that much.
Speak for yourself.
I mean, I'm going to for the show, but God, it just rubbed me the wrong way. I was like, God, this is just weird.
Just watch. We're gonna be surprised by this.
And it wasn't like, it was just that the one girl was so forceful. It was weird. I didn't like that. It's odd.
She's just teasing her.
We'll see. Maybe the next episode will be better. But for right now, I was just like, dude, you need to just chill, bro.
Although I will say that the bit with the boyfriend was a little bit unnecessary. I did not come to this series for that.
Oh my god.
So maybe if we can cut down on those scenes.
I mean, the
that would be
storyline wasn't too bad. Like, it's understandable, like, what the one girl's going through, just, like, trying to figure it all out. But at the same time, I don't know. I just felt like the one girl was just too much.
great. Yeah, I can definitely see that. I put this on the list because I thought it would be fun to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting show, and it'll probably be interesting, and I'm sure we'll talk about it again. But, like, I don't know, that first episode, they really didn't ease you into it. They didn't give you much backstory into, like, what the hell is going on. You know?
Yeah. But
Moving on to a show that has a little bit more potential, in my opinion. Knights and Magic.
so the very first thing that I noticed about Knights and Magic that made me optimistic about this series is that the mechs don't look like they're coming out of a PS2 game.
Well, just in
3D
general, the animation was really good.
Yeah.
Surprisingly good. I did not expect them to come out with like such like crisp animation. And you're right, the mechs looked really, really good, and the enemies looked really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
The storyline so far is a little weird.
I mean, I think it's a little cookie cutter because we're getting that same kind of person dies, gets reincarnated in a fantasy world with magic, and they get to do something that they always wanted, like adventure, or in this case, have the potential to pilot a robot.
Yeah.
What I really thought is going to be interesting to see how they do this, but I thought it was interesting that the magic of this world is similar to the Irregulars, where it's kind of like programming and data,
Yeah.
but it felt less restrictive because in Irregular, you're like born with like a certain propensity and that's what you're limited to. And in this one, it seems like they were talking about how you can kind of like train yourself up and increase your magical strength, kind of like lifting weights or something. Like you practice and you can get better at magic.
Yeah, I also found it interesting how the main character just seemed overpowered, but like still weak. He's like way smarter than everybody else, and he still has like, since he was that former programmer from like Japan, he seemed to have some like wisdom to him that like kind of helped him get ahead. And then like, but at the same time, he's still like a smaller, like weaker type like character, but he still has that like aspect to him that makes him seem just so overpowered. He's way stronger than everyone else in like intelligence and magic level and everything like that, because he just studied so hard and like wanted to do all this stuff so bad. But at the same time, he's like a weak character. And I also think it's interesting how in the story they're basically hinting how he's gonna save the world and all this stuff. Like in the first episode, like they said that, just say like explicitly.
Well, maybe that's the reason why he got reincarnated.
I don't know. Hopefully they throw a wrench into that and it's more of a twist and it's not something you just completely expect. Like, oh, it's going to be a show about how he's just going to figure out all these mechs and like do all this crazy shit, that he'll be like a more powerful, basically mega hero like every other show. I just would really like to see them do something with it, especially with this type of mech series where the mechs aren't like that CGI and the animation is just so good. I want to see what they could do with it.
Yeah, the one thing that I don't really care for, and I think the animation's solid, I think the overall world is pretty solid, I think once we get to exploring it, it's going to be good. The one thing I didn't care for was how much narration there was. And I don't know, I just felt like there was a lot of things that they were explaining that if they just showed you a simple montage, like they talked over like, oh, he worked so hard and he was studying like nobody else before him and yada, yada, yada. Like if they had just shown a montage, we would have understood that. Like he's really into this, he's working hard. Do we really need to have this explained to us? But, I mean, maybe that's just a nitpicky thing on my part, but I just didn't care for how much narration there was.
Yeah, I guess I didn't really like that much either, but I guess they had to set up the story in some way. I think this show did do a really good job of setting up a good storyline compared to the short we just talked about previously. It actually set up a good story, and it also didn't do it like a lot of anime do, where it just jumps right in and then you just pick up the storyline as you go. It really set up a good basis to build upon, which I really liked about that. But at the same time, this might just have a good start and have a very lackluster ending. It seems like a show that is pretty cookie cutter, that could just be the same thing over again, that it might not be what you're looking for. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I know we're talking about the first episode, but there's actually 2 episodes that have aired as of this recording. And I actually watched the second episode, and honestly, I think this is going to be good. I have faith. I don't think it's going to fall apart. I think it's going to have a lot of interesting aspects to it.
Well, I haven't seen it yet, but I'm excited to see it. I actually really wanted to watch it before we started, but couldn't find the time, so. All right, moving on to a show that we basically should talk about every week because it's amazing, and we've told everyone to watch, My Hero Academia.
And I think once more series start to air and we get a better grasp on the schedule, we'll talk about this show a little bit less, because I think people would.
No, that's okay. It's okay. It's okay. We can keep talking about it. It's just so good. I love it so much.
Oh, me too. I love it. And I just love how we're finally getting some development in Midoriya's handle of One for All.
Oh, yeah. That I will say one thing about the show that I didn't really like is that it took so long for him to even just like get a little bit of grasp of like the type of power he had. And it's so strong. He, like, for example, in this episode, he figures out that he needs to not like move the power to where he wants to do things. Like he move like like not a specific body part, but to just like put it throughout his whole body and then just be amazing. Like, why did he not get that right away to just use it everywhere?
Well, I think it was kind of explained, but All Might's not exactly the best teacher.
True.
And maybe that's something that, and yeah, they also said that All Might could use the power right away. So that's probably something that he just knew instinctively. He didn't need to be told or figure that out on his own. He just knew it. So it wasn't really something that occurred to him that he would have to tell Midoriya.
True. It just seemed really weird to me that he didn't figure out that he should just put it throughout his whole body. Like, I understand he was trying to put like 300%, like for example, like 300% into each limb or whatever, and be like super more powerful than everybody else just with each part that he wanted to use, instead of just being like 150 throughout his whole body. But like, I don't know. They didn't say that exactly, but that's just how I kind of think about it.
Yeah, it's. I'm just glad that this series is moving along. Like this is like a breath of fresh air for me, because My Hero Academia, I'm not sure if it's because of the time blocks that they get, where they only get like 13 and then they get 24 and then they might get another 13 after this one. But I'm just so glad that, unlike other shonen series, that, you know, everything kind of gets resolved within like 3 or 4 episodes at the most. Sometimes they have even less, but they get things going, they execute it well, and they're done with it, and they move on to the next thing. And it's not this long, drawn-out story that gets bland or boring after a while.
Yeah, and there's no filler, which is like insane for a shonen.
They're just handling it right. But you know who is a great teacher? We talked about All Might being a bad one.
Yeah.
Gran Torino is a great teacher.
I wouldn't say he's a great teacher. I would just say he like places certain ideas in Midoriya's head and then kind of lets him figure it out himself.
Is that not what good teachers do?
I mean, I would say yes, but at the same time, he hasn't really taught him anything.
Mostly I call him the best teacher because of that scene where they're trying to microwave the taiyaki and he's on the table and just kind of patting it.
Patting his hands. Yeah, he's a really funny character, and I hope like you said, it's only taking 5 to 10 episodes to get like plot lines rolling and close him up and stuff. But I really hope that he's in more than just like 3 or 4 episodes, because he's a really cool character and he's interesting, and like what he does and the way he teaches. And I saw a lot of people talking about how he's like a really like Yoda-like character, and I kind of agree that he's just like say All Might is like Obi-Wan, like Ben Kenobi teaching Luke Skywalker some stuff, and he's not like, he might not have been the best teacher, but he didn't really get that much time with him. Whereas then when he went to Yoda, he really became like what he could be. Whereas I feel like this is the same type of situation where he's gonna go to Gran Torino and he's gonna really like hone in his power to be something that it really should be already, and be just something like totally fucking awesome.
So you're telling me that Disney should be going after My Hero Academia and Bone Studio for ripping off their plot lines?
Oh, completely, but that's okay. And I really think that his new costume's fucking dope.
Oh yeah,
with the metal teeth. Oh, that's awesome.
Okay, so they kept the ears?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, I guess they're not really ears. I guess they're supposed to be like All Might's hair, but
yeah, they look like bunny rabbit ears.
But there's also so many mysteries that got introduced this episode.
I know. Go ahead.
Yeah. Like, who's the League of Villains? Well, we already kind of was speculating that from last season. But who is he? He was in this one too, and he's raising that. God, what's his name? Whatever, the villain with the hands all over him. He's raising him to be like a super villain, and something's going on with all One for All, because All Might kept the truth away about the 7th holder.
Oh yeah, that's super interesting, and I love how Stain is just kind of like his own rogue type of thing, and how what's the fast guy's name?
Ida.
Yeah, I think Ida is like his storyline with Stain like hunting him down is gonna be really fucking cool.
Yeah, we could talk about forever about how great My Hero Academia is, because they're doing such a great job of season 1 was all about Deku, and season 2 is kind of about Deku, but we're getting so much more about everybody else in his class, and that's just great. I love it.
Yeah, I also like, I loved how they just gave you a little tidbit of everybody in the during their internships. And I thought it was really funny when Ochiko got her she was with like the gun guy, the
Gun face or something.
Yeah, like the very offensive type hero, and he was talking, and she's like, his voice is so cute.
My favorite internship moment was Mount Lady's appearance, where she was trying to teach Mineta how to spend leisure hours, and he was vacuuming, and he's like, I'm not into this kind of play.
Yeah. I don't really like him that much as a character, but I do like Mountain Lady. She's really funny.
Mount Lady is one of the best characters in this series. Best comic relief I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, she's a good character. So, on to another show that's a new airing this season, unlike My Hero Academia, Restaurant to Another World. What'd you think about that one, Shep?
Okay, so I had to be careful navigating this because I forgot. I guess I forgot to edit all of my notes so that it was only one episode. But how great would it have been if everyone refers to the day that the restaurant appears as the day of Saturn? Wouldn't it have been great if they scheduled it so it aired on Saturday?
Does it not air on Saturday?
It airs on Monday.
Oh, that would be really funny. If it like the same day that it showed up in this show, that'd be really interesting. They should have done that.
But
so far I really like the show.
Oh, yeah, the first episode I thought was really good because it's another one of those food animes where everything looks absolutely delicious and everyone has to go into such great detail about how delicious it actually is. And it makes me hungry.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like Food Wars level of just like amazing food, but it's super interesting. Just, I love the animation. It's really, really good. And they're setting up the storyline really well to like why the door is opening to the other world on one day with the dragon and stuff like that. And it's kind of giving us some background of like what's going on, and there's some mystery there. But at the same time, it's sort of like a slice of life where they're running a restaurant and things are just working together. And I'm really interested to see the demon girl, how she, like, her storyline, what's going to happen with her throughout the rest of it. And we really didn't get much on I don't know if he's the main character, but the chef of the restaurant. We really didn't get a ton of information on him, and I feel like he has a lot of stuff to like give. He's an interesting character that really hasn't been fleshed out at all yet. Yeah,
there's quite a bit there that we still need to learn about. For the demon girl, I'm not a huge fan of her right now. She just seems kind of boring to me. But that could change in a heartbeat because I'm a sucker for cute girls in anime. So
she seemed boring to you?
Yeah, she seemed a little boring to me. She just seemed kind of like I'm sure in the manga she came along at some point and like filled a purpose, but for the anime at least, it seemed like they just kind of introduced her to kind of be like that waifu material, which I don't have an issue with. Like you gotta sell Dakimakuras, am I right? But
am I right?
Am I right?
You gotta sell Dakimakuras, am I right?
They're sitting in their offices. They're like, we have to sell a Dakimakura.
Oh,
we need Demon Girl with horns.
Oh, we need Demon Girl. I mean, they're right. They do, and I'm all for it.
I just thought that this first episode probably didn't do her justice. I'm sure that she's a much more interesting character, and all we got right now is just her backstory.
Dude,
so
I was just like,
how things go
I just thought it was dope. The food he was making looked so damn good, and I was like, her backstory is so good. I can't wait to see like what he's going on. Oh, that shower scene they slipped in, I ain't mad.
The shower scene?
Yeah, they slipped in a shower scene with the demon girl.
Oh, well, you gotta sell Dakamakuras, am I right?
Yeah, you got his old Dakamakuras. hey, come on, it's fine. It's fine.
But yeah, I didn't have any problem with really any parts of the show. Like, I love the food. I love all the interesting characters. I love seeing how they kind of like interact with everything that we would consider normal. Like, we just kind of take all this stuff for granted, but they're like so into it.
Like the food?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just normal stuff you can order at a Western style restaurant, and they just think it's like the most amazing food you can possibly eat. I thought it was really funny how I not funny, but I thought it really showed really well how like appreciated the food and everything is when the four customers were in there and they started kind of fighting with each other. And then he said that I'm never gonna cook for you again, and they all just were like, "Oh shit."
Oh shit.
They were like, "Oh my god."
And then they all although, let's all admit that that old geezer was being really rude. Like,
Oh, he totally
dropped
was.
someone's...
And he was eating shit off people's plates. Rude AF. For real though.
But you know what else was rude, Jake?
What?
Me making you watch the last show that we have on this discussion because I knew that you were going to hate it.
And I absolutely hated it. It was awful. Seriously.
But for
it's
me,
so bad.
For me, it started off 10 times. No, 100. Nope, 1,000 times better than I could have possibly imagined.
Why? I could not believe how they start. Okay, we're talking about a centaur's life. First off,
Yes,
so everyone knows what we're talking about.
A Centaur's life.
I could not believe how poorly they set this up. It was horrible. They just started. I was like, who are you? Who are these characters? I literally did not know the main character's name until like 3/4 the way through the episode.
Jake. They needed to get the kiss scene in. They needed to have Hime and Nozomi kiss.
Shep, the fact that she was playing a princess and her name is Hime, and I was like, oh, they're just calling her Hime because they're doing the play. And then like 3/4 of the way they kept calling her that. I was like, oh shit, that's her actual name.
Yeah.
Who names their horse daughter Hime? Unless she's like, she better be like the fucking princess of horses or centaurs.
Jake, in this universe, centaurs are humans. They're just a race of humans. So you need to get your bigoted attitude out of here because it's 2017.
Oh my gosh. I seriously, like, they explained that whole thing and like the politics and everything behind it. I was like, what? Why? Like, why are you explaining this? Like, the part where they said that like sometimes centaur people were amazing archers and then other times they were forced to be slaves and be ridden. I was like, what the fuck? Why are you bringing me down? Like, why are you bringing me down, man?
I actually thought it was really interesting. I don't know if they're actually going to delve any deeper into that stuff, but the fact that they had like government or military individuals standing in the hallway as the... Sorry, someone's
cool.
shooting groundhogs outside and the dogs are kind of going crazy.
We can just cut it
But,
out. Do you know what we were talking about?
Yes, I was talking about the military people listening in on the lecture. Okay, so one of the things, I don't know how deeply they're going to look into this because I'm not sure if this is the type of show that's going to do this, but the fact that they had like military or government people standing in the doorway while their teacher was giving a lecture and then like giving her the nod and she's like, okay, let's sing the national anthem. And the fact that they were saying like, it's illegal for us to talk about Hime giving me a ride. And you think like,
I mean, it seems like there's some background with the whole politics of the world and stuff like that. But at the same time, it just, I don't know if it's just Monster Girls or like what the hell it is. I just fucking don't care. I'm like, dude, who gives a shit about your stupid ass rules and politics with these like just silly monster people.
Although, speaking of silly monster people, that goat horn girl at the beginning who was making the costumes for Hime,
Yeah.
she needs to back off because you don't make fun of Hime because of her size. Centaurs are supposed to be thick. And I did not take too kindly to her doing that to my girl Hime.
I mean, centaurs are definitely supposed to be thick. So I understand that. But
not too thick. They can't be too thick or else they can't turn around normally.
I mean, yeah, she runs like 20 miles a day or some crazy shit like that.
It's 20 kilometers, Jake. They use the metric system.
I'm so sorry. So she runs like 15 or 16 miles. I don't fucking know. Conversions.
We use imperial system, baby.
Yeah, baby. God bless.
God bless the USA.
Yeah, but for real though, this shit is hard to watch, and I'm not excited to finish this show. But I will for you, Shep.
Oh, and for our fans who are going to be watching this show, like, right away.
I'm gonna be honest.
love
Not
Monster
I bet 150% of our fans don't want to listen to this garbage.
Although, I got debated halfway through.
Oh, and by this garbage, I don't mean the podcast in general. I mean this show.
Oh. But A Centaur's Life is so good.
No,
They
it's
debated
bad.
me.
Yeah,
they put their opening in the middle of the series.
Yeah, what? Yeah, that was fucked up, dude.
I know. It almost gave me a heart attack. I was like, there's no way it's over already.
Yeah, I thought the same thing. I was like, why is this happening right now? And I skipped it, and I was like, okay, thank God. It wasn't even a good opening. Trash.
It was an okay opening.
Yeah. It was a
But,
bad show. It was a bad show.
Hey,
And that's all I wanted to say about it. Moving on to other bad shows.
six-legged master race. Six-legged master.
Moving on to other bad shows. We're going to get into a segment we call a steaming pile of dog shit with Shep. Shep's now watching Dog and Scissors. That's why it's called a steaming pile of dog shit. How is it, Shep?
It's about what you would expect. It's a wild ride. I'll give you that. I'm not sure if it's a good one or a bad one, but it's crazy because the very first 30 seconds is just the dog speaking to his owner about she's like, can you just die? Can you die? Can you die for me? And he's like, not to a flat-chested hoe like you. And so she starts chasing him around with scissors. And he's like, oh, I used to be a human. And then it flashes all the way back to the beginning. To this narration where, you know, this high school kid's talking about books and how the story's about books and how he loves a certain author. Who I didn't take the time to write down and remember their names because this show isn't worth my time to do that. But the high school kid loves this author so much, and he's waiting for the last book of this 7 Deadly Sins series to come out. They have everything but Lust, and he's like, I cannot die until I read Lust. I love this author way too much. So he's chilling at a coffee shop, finishing up a book from this author that he so dearly loves, and some guy just randomly pulls out a shotgun and tries robbing the place. And and I'll tell you what, they meet the guy later on in the series, and they still don't establish why he decided to bring a shotgun into a coffee shop and try to rob it. There is no explanation behind that. So the kid is, you know, he stands up because he's like, everybody stand up. So he stands up, but this woman who's
Wait. So the kid who's reading the books is the one robbing the place?
No. There's this random guy who just pulls out a shotgun.
Okay.
Yeah. Just random dude pulls out a shotgun, tells everybody to like stand up or I'm going to shoot.
Okay, so this woman.
And this woman in the booth next to him is writing something. I wonder what she could be writing. But apparently, she's indulged too much in her own bullshit to notice the guy screaming at her to stand up. So the kid ends up trying to protect her and gets domed in the face with a shotgun. So now he's in the afterlife, and he's kind of just like in this void, like this kaleidoscope kind of area. He's naked, of course, and not going to complain there, but he's just floating there, and all of a sudden he's like, oh, lust. I can't die until I read Lust. And then he wakes up as a dog in a pet store owned by a guy with a rockin' afro.
Is this the end of episode 1?
No.
Okay, keep going.
So he's in this pet store with this guy who he literally calls Afro. I don't think that they actually give him a legitimate name. He is just Afro. And he's begging inside his own mind. He's begging that he can read this author's novels. And then all of a sudden, the same woman, the same bitch who got this guy shot, moseys on into the pet store and is like, are you the one who's been calling me? And it turns out that she can read his mind.
Could she read his mind before he was a dog?
No.
Can she read the minds of other dogs?
No. Just this dog who's the reincarnated human of the guy who protected her from the random dude with the shotgun.
Did she have like coffee or anything when she was writing stuff and when the kid got shot in the head?
Yeah.
So maybe she got some like brain pieces in her coffee or like food and she ate it?
I mean, we can only hope.
I really hope that's what it is.
That would be hilarious. We don't actually get to see what happens after that. We just see him get domed.
So she can read this dog's mind, which I don't understand because why would she know exactly where to find the dog that she... Can she like read it from far distances?
Yes. It's like they have a connection. And whenever he thinks something, she can hear it no matter where he's at.
Okay.
So she was trying to find this dog because he's just like screaming her name.
Mm-hmm.
So she finally finds him and she ties him up and hangs him upside down and says, "Will you just die for me?" So she pulls out her scissors and he finally explains like, "Oh, you know, I'm this guy. I got killed in a coffee shop protecting this woman. It was you." And she's like, "Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
It's all my fault that this kid died, and now he's a dog. So let me put on lingerie and try to..." And then he calls her.
Wait. You just cut out.
Oh, I cut out, but I got the best part right there.
Well, you need to go back.
We need to go back to the past.
We need to go back. So he ties her up, and she says that she ties him up, and he tells her that he thinks that so she can read his mind, and he thinks that she knows. He says that he's the one that saved her.
Yes.
And then she does what?
She puts on lingerie and tries to get him aroused. I'm pretty sure the exact phrase, "Are you aroused now, you dirty dog?" And he says something about her chest being flat, and she then cuts him off the rope with her scissors, but not after taking a chunk out of his fur. And that is the end of episode 1, actually.
Okay. And how many episodes did you watch?
I watched 4 episodes.
All right, let's give us some more.
So episode 2 is all about how he's talking about how he left, like he left people behind, but it's not a huge deal. He's actually more of a book freak. Like he's upset that he can't redeem his points at the bookstore and that his books are all at home and his apartment, and there's no way he can really go back to that. And when he finds out that this woman is this author, his favorite author, because he doesn't actually know that she's the author. He just knows that she's the one. He's the one that saved her. So when he finds that out, that she's the author that he's been waiting for the long time, he's like, "You should just write Lust already." And she's like, "You know what? There's just no spark. I can't write Lust without having a spark." And that had my shepherd senses tingling. I was like, "This is bad. This is bad right here."
So she's the writer of Lust.
Yes, she's the writer of the 7 Deadly Sins series that this kid loves so dearly.
Okay.
And he just tells her, "You know what? You should write Lust." And she's like, "There's no spark." Bad news. Bad news bears right there. But
why
what
is
ends
that
up
bad for you?
Because that's clearly a flag that she's going to have lustful feelings for this main character, who is a dog.
How big of a dog are we talking here?
Very small dog.
Okay. Like, what type of dog is it?
I don't know, a small brown dog with floppy ears.
How big of a dog would you say it is?
About the size of a Shih Tzu, I would say.
Okay, that's a pretty small dog.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Really small dog.
So he figures out that she's the writer of Lust and she's gonna try to bang her dog.
No, that doesn't happen yet.
Okay, well she's trying to bang her dog. So what else?
Not yet. Not
Okay,
yet.
Oh, well, the fact that not yet is even a statement on she's trying to bang her dog. But let's keep going. Let's keep going.
So she eventually takes him to his old apartment, and it turns out that his killer was staying in his old apartment because he had taken the kid's wallet, and in that wallet was a room key. So he ends up staying in this kid's room reading books. And when they finally catch him, he makes a run for it, and they have this big fight scene on a bridge where he's literally using a fictional martial art from one of the author's books. And he's literally beating her in the face with huge novels that she's written.
Okay.
Eventually, she ends up beating this guy, even though he put her underneath a hypnotic spell that was only true in one of her novels, but for some reason affects her in the real world. But she ends up kicking this guy, and he's almost about to fall off the edge of the bridge. Like, he's on that side railing, and he's just kind of hanging there. So a little shove could knock him into the road.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, kill him. It's something that a dog would do. And he's like, "You know what? I don't want to kill him."
Wait a minute. Something that a dog would do is push someone into moving traffic?
Yeah, like a dog wouldn't know what he's doing. Like, he would just kind of paw at him and he'd fall off the edge.
Oh, okay. And this is still episode 2?
This is still episode 2.
Okay.
So then he says, like, "I don't like you being so guilty about me dying. Like, I'm already dead. I've accepted that. And I know everything about you. Like, this isn't you. Like, you wouldn't try to murder this guy. Like, you're just such a great person, yada, yada, yada. I know that from reading your books." And she breaks down crying because she's finally kind of like over her guilt that she killed him. And on their way home, she starts talking about how it's feasible for them to have kids. And she's talking about, like, who'd be on top, who would be on bottom, like, how would she even, like, make this work? And
what does this woman look like?
Imagine Yukino, but flatter and red eyes.
Okay.
And that's her. Like, just long black hair, flat chest, pretty decent butt, but
So how are you feeling about this show 2 episodes in?
2 episodes in, I'm very uncomfortable, but strangely intrigued by it. And the second episode ends with him calling No Tit about 4 times, and she chases him like a typical tsundere, and they go running off into the night. So that's episode 2.
Okay.
Episode 3 starts out even weirder because he wakes up and there's this woman sleeping on one of their tables in their apartment. He walks up to her, the dog, and she wakes up and starts talking to him and referring to him to a name of a fictional demon that she made up. And after a little bit of conversation, like, they kind of like tease you. He's like, can you understand me? And she's like, yes, I can understand you, oh great demon god, yada yada yada. And he's like, oh, you can understand me. Like, that's weird. I thought only this author could, but you can as well. And then all of a sudden she's like, yes, I will dance for you, demon god. And she like scissors, and she's just dancing on the table
With a pair of scissors?
with two scissors, like a pair in each hand, and she's just kind of like snipping away, and she's just dancing on the table.
So, do they ever explain what the whole scissor thing is about?
She just uses scissors to cut things.
Just in general?
Yeah, just in general. She uses them as a weapon.
Okay.
I don't think there's any deeper meaning to it. This isn't like a Netsuzou trap or anything.
Okay.
But, so it turns out that she's also a huge masochist too, because then the author comes in and cuts her shirt with a pair of scissors, and she's like, oh, please cut me more, cut me more. And, they start talking about the slasher who's on a crime spree. And they end up trying to go investigate this slasher. And one thing I want to note before I move on to the slasher thing is that whenever she cuts this dog, like, she only takes off patches of fur, but the patches of fur that end up missing are in the shape of hearts. And that makes me uncomfortable.
This whole show makes me uncomfortable. It's crazy that you can just click a random button on Crunchyroll and this is what pops up.
Hmm?
That you can click just the random button on Crunchyroll and then this pops up.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Like, this is bad. Okay, is that episode 3?
No, episode 3
Oh
ends
my
after they're done
God.
investigating the slasher, and they find out that the common thread is that someone is attacking people who is reading this author's novels.
Okay.
Okay, that and episode 3 ends with that. Episode 4 starts where episode 3 ends off, because he ends up like falling for the most obvious trap ever. Like, I don't quite understand how someone who has the consciousness of a human is so dumb to walk underneath a basket with a stick underneath it and a rope clearly visible tied to that stick over a novel, and he's like, oh, I'm just gonna read. And the next thing you know, what do you expect? Trap gets tripped, and he's captured. And episode 4 starts off with him waking up to his younger sister.
But how did she know he's a dog?
Don't ask me, because at first they tease you again. They make you think that she can hear his thoughts like the author, but she can't.
So
And she is somehow convinced that this dog is her older brother who got domed in the face at the coffee shop.
oh wow.
So she ties him up in his old apartment.
Is she the slasher? The hash slinging slasher?
Yeah, she is the ham hack slinging slasher with the big meaty claws.
The ham hack.
I don't know, the
Hash slinging slasher.
hash slinging slasher.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
She is that.
okay, so hash slinging slasher captures Dog Boy because Psycho Scissor Lady is trying to cut him up and have sex with him.
No, well, that, and she's attacking these people because apparently she feels like this author stole her older brother. So now she's going to kidnap him and keep him around forever and ever and ever. Love each other forever and ever and ever.
Okay, so I guess I'm a little lost on who is the character that's like bowing to him like he's a demon.
That was the author's editor,
Oh, okay.
but she is currently gone. Like, she's
What's her
not
name?
part of it. I have no idea.
Okay, so editor lady.
She got big old titties though.
All right, so editor lady, Psycho Scissors, Dog Boy, and
Emoto,
hash slinging slasher.
the hash slinging slasher.
Okay. And so hash slinging slasher is convinced that Dog Boy is her brother, and he is, but she doesn't know that for
Yes.
sure.
Oh, apparently she knows for sure. We just don't know how she knows for sure.
Okay.
And
Then what happens?
then what ends up happening is that she goes to get ingredients for her curry, which is absolutely nasty. And since she can hear all of the author, the Crazy Scissor Lady, can hear all of his thoughts, Crazy Scissor Lady kidnaps the dog back. And then harasses him in the same way that she did, like tie him up, hang him upside down, and cut him because apparently he was flirting with other women. But it was really his younger sister. And they find out, okay, they put the pieces of the puzzle together, and they're like, okay, your sister is the hash-slinging slasher.
Well, yeah, and personally, I think the hash slinging slasher should win.
But then episode 4 ends because they live in a penthouse suite. So they're at like the top floor of their apartment building, and it's like 200 levels up.
Yeah.
The hash-slinging slasher flings herself into the window of her apartment and is like, I'm taking my older brother back.
She
And
flings herself into the window?
Yes, like grappling hook onto ledge, pulls herself up, smashes through window.
Nice.
Yeah, it's nutty.
Dude, I am all for the hash slinging slasher at this point. Psycho Scissor Lady, not my style. Dog Boy needs to choose sis. This show's already fucked up enough.
Yeah, we'll see, because it ends off with Dog Boy standing in the middle of the hash-slinging slasher and Crazy Scissor Lady, and they're going to duke it out, but we won't know until the next 4 episodes are watched. So, if you want to know more about a steaming pile of dog shit with Shep,
Tune in next time.
tune in next week, because it's going to get even more crazy than ever.
Ooh, I literally did not think that the random button and Crunchyroll could get you to something this crazy. Is it at least funny? Is it at least an okay show?
I think it's okay. I just find it really weird.
At this point, would you recommend it to anyone?
No, not really.
Would you want anyone to know that you even watched it?
No, I guess I wouldn't mind, because I have an excuse. I could be like, yeah, I do this thing for a podcast, and I watched it for it. But
All right. Well, that was
I
a
would
steaming
say
pile of
keep it a
dog shit
secret.
with Shep. Now we're gonna move on to a much better show.
yes,
Animation Rewind. Back to Saucer Eyes and Better Times, and we're watching WAGNARIA. So, I know last week we said that we don't know how much of this we're going to watch, but I say we watch all 3 seasons because the first 4 episodes were fucking awesome.
yeah.
Like, seriously, so good. I was like, dude, so good. Why?
I just don't think I
There's-
can put myself through that.
What do you mean?
I don't want to wait.
Oh, that's true. And the waifu material in this show is off the charts.
Yeah.
For real. So
Yeah.
good.
Oh, so good. Well, why don't you start off? I just spent like a good 10-15 minutes ranting about a dog boy and his crazy scissor lady. So
And the hash slinging slasher.
yeah.
So I thought it was so funny, and I started watching the first episode. I was like, oh, okay, this is okay. And by the time I was done, I was like, wow, I do not want to watch anything else. I just want to finish this show because it was it was just so funny, and the storyline is so good. And what's the little girl's name again?
Taneshima?
Tanoshima?
Yeah.
Tanoshima, yeah. He's so right. She's adorable, and it's not because she's super small or anything like that. She's just adorable in general, and she's straight waifu material, no doubt.
Oh, I'm not doubting. I'm always
seriously,
down to adding
so
a lolly
good.
into the pool.
And the cooks have their own type of humor, hilarious. His family, there's all these different storylines that come together that just make a really funny show. His family's great. The cooks are great in their own way. And the whole wait staff is just so quirky and weird that it's just amazing. And one of the best characters by far, easily by far so far, is the manager. She is so funny in the way she does things. Just hilarious.
I love her.
Yeah, me too. She literally is just amazing. She's so funny. And the girl who carries the sword around, she's a little weird so far. I don't think her bit with the manager so far is that funny. I'm interested to see what happens later on. But right now I'm kind of hoping that like she ends up with the main cook, the blonde guy.
Although she did hit him with the one thing that you don't want to hear from a woman.
What?
She didn't call him like a reliable guy. She didn't call him a funny guy. She called him a nice guy.
Oh, whatever.
You don't want that. I feel for this man. Rip his dreams.
Rip his dreams.
Sato, I'm sorry for you, bud. I really hope things turn around for you.
Yeah, me too, honestly.
Because no man should ever get hit like that when he's just such a chill dude.
There was so many funny parts of the show. And I seriously am probably gonna watch the next 4 episodes immediately after we get off of this.
Well, you have to remember, in another world with my smartphone and new game.
Oh, I know. There's so many good shows that are like airing today, but I don't know. This show, WAGNARIA, was just really, really funny. If you're not watching along with us, like please try to catch up because it's so funny. And if you want to talk to us about it, like we'd really, because it's seriously great, and I would seriously want to talk about this for a ton of time.
So, do we want to like take things in a little bit more chronological, or do we just want to like start with like what do we want to do here? Like we were kind of jumping all over the place.
Yeah, I mean, I was just trying to get my ideas out there on how I felt about it. But yeah, we can just talk about it episode by episode. We watched the first 4. Mm-hmm. So, what did you think of the first episode?
The first episode made me so happy because we really did go back to better times, because there was a smoking and a non-smoking section in a public restaurant.
Okay, that's an American thing. Technically, in Japan, there are always non-smoking and smoking sections.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, thank God that the Japanese aren't such big babies.
No, we definitely shouldn't be smoking in restaurants.
No, it's more about, I'm pretty sure Japanese smokers are just more respectful about it, and they don't have to have their smoking privileges taken away.
Probably.
But that's a debate for another time.
Yeah. I just thought it was really funny how they sent like the littlest girl out to go find a new person, and she asked all her friends, and then she just asked some random guy in the street, and he was down just because he thought she was so cute because he loves little things. And the end of that episode was great. Mm-hmm. When he was like, when they're like, do you like her or anything? Like what is, she's like, no, I kind of think of her like a puppy or like a kitten or like a water flea.
She's on par with a water flea.
Oh yeah, it was just really, really funny, that first episode was, and they set all the characters up pretty well, and it was just like a good setup. And then the next episode, when you meet Inami like more in depth, it's when things kind of start picking up.
Yeah. The whole first episode was just like, if Shep worked in Japan, how would it go down? This is how it would go down. Adorable Lolly would ask me to work at her restaurant. I would be 100% down.
I would be 100% down.
I'd go to the place. It'd be a little quirky, but I'd get used to it, and then everything would just be a fun day, all day, every day. I did like the age bit when they were talking about the manager's age.
Was that the first or second episode?
I believe that was the second episode.
Yeah, that was really great, and that really started to give you like a more in-depth look at like how crazy the manager is. I love how she has a posse of people that she'll call. Like if she really needs to, she can be like, yeah, these customers are rude, just take them all their money and come back. Like it was so great. So funny. Who
said being a delinquent in high school doesn't pay off?
Oh yeah, and then that might be the third episode, but the scene with the head waitress, the chief, and the manager, how she was really little and she was getting picked on, and then the manager came up with the bat. Oh, it's so funny.
All for spare bread.
Yeah, all for spare bread.
But you're absolutely right. Starting in the second episode when they introduce Inami,
Yeah.
that I'm interested to see how this goes because it seems like that's kind of like the central plot line of this first season is they like sat them down and was like, okay, you need to get over your fear of men because Inami's androphobic
Yeah.
and she can't help but punch people. And it's funny because it's a good old slapstick. But she can't serve any male guests.
Yeah, it's a little weird right now. I kind of want her to kind of get over it. She's starting to, at least 4 episodes in, to like move on from it. And it's interesting to see how it can like progress from there. Because she obviously has a crush on the main character.
Yeah, she's got a crush on Takanashi. And we already know that Taneshima is not an interest for Takanashi. She's just kind of like the, I don't know what you would call her, apple of his eye? Is that something that you could call her?
Yeah, kind of.
Like, not really like a romantic kind of thing, but since she is so tiny and cute, that's why he stays around.
Yeah, and she's the best.
Can I hug this?
Oh, that was so funny! As soon as he was dying, he's like, no, seriously, can I hug this? And I was like, can I hug it too? Yeah, that was, seriously, I was dying at that part. He's like, no! The manager. Just the whole dynamic with everybody in the work staff is so good.
It feels real. Like,
It really does. I mean, obviously, besides like the crazy hijinks, like the girl with the sword,
oh yeah, I mean,
and obviously like how Inami punches everyone, but it does feel like how an actual workplace would be. How like you start building up a rapport with everyone around you, and you kind of it's, you know.
and then when they introduced Otosan
Yeah.
and his whole story about his wife getting lost. Or his wife is missing, but it's because she got lost because she just has a terrible sense of direction.
And her
You ladies really need to get your stuff together because I'm sorry, but North is not up.
Oh, I loved it too. She's like, it is, and she's like, no, that's wrong. That was really funny.
And then Todoroki tries to murder him with her sword.
Oh, I know.
I felt so bad for the guy. I was
know.
like, don't do that to Oto-san.
I know, I liked Oto-san, but I also just really like how Todoroki is like, she's like quiet, but at the same time she'll throw down.
I just love how she was using the whetstone and they're like, should she really be doing this? Like, isn't that bad for the sword?
Yeah.
It's not like, oh, should she be doing this? Like, in the restaurant, they're like, isn't that bad for the sword? One thing I love about this series, too, is, like, they fit so much stuff in. Like, there's so many bits and skits and jokes, and there's after-credit scenes, and it feels so much longer than just 20-some minutes.
Yeah, it really does. They just do a very good job of keeping the story going very well, and it's connected very well from episode to episode. That's what I like a lot about it. They do a good job of just picking up kind of right where they let off.
This is just going to be one of the best rewinds that we have ever had.
Yeah, I literally cannot wait to watch the rest of this first season. I think maybe we should watch maybe 2 seasons. If we're watching 4 episodes, just think about it. It's only going to be 3 episodes because it's only 12 episodes long, the first season.
4.
What do you mean?
So, I'm sorry, you were kind of in and out a little bit there for me, so I didn't quite hear. I thought you said something like, should we watch 3 or 4?
I said if we watch the second episode, if we watch the second season, it'll be 6 episodes of the podcast.
Yes.
But if we only watch 1 season, it's only going to be 3.
Well, I mean, we can try to make that call, but I'm just going to say I love our fans, I really do, but if it had to come down to being able to watch WAGNARIA or watch WAGNARIA 4 episodes at a time and give them content, I'd pick the former much more than the latter because I want to watch this show.
Yeah, me too. But we'll see, because I don't know. I like talking about it on the podcast as well.
We'll see how much we can see.
How much you, Shep?
I'm watching Romeo and Juliet. I can occupy my for as long as I need to.
I'm watching Romeo and Juliet.
Okay, Dad.
Okay, Dad. Okay.
Okay, Dad.
So that was Annie Nation Rewind, back to Saucer Eyes and Better Times. We'll be watching the next 4 episodes of WAGNARIA for next episode. That'll put us at 8 episodes. You should watch along with us. It's a really funny show.
It would be 5, 6, 7, and 8. Yeah, you're right.
All right. Now we're going to move on to the topic of the show, which Shep is very passionate about. Why Netflix should drop out of the anime market for our sake and theirs, according to Shep.
Yes. I got really heated one night because I found out that Fate Apocrypha and Kakegurui? Kakegure? Compulsive Gambler. 2 shows. Well, one show was specifically mentioned on the podcast as one of the shows that I was looking for this summer. And the other one was something that I told Jake off mic that I wanted to watch. But both of those series were picked up by Netflix. So now they're 2 shows that I'll never be able to watch legally.
Well, technically, I have Netflix, and I'll share it with you if you really want to watch it. But the issue with Netflix licensing these series is not that you can't watch them because you don't have Netflix yet, because you really should get Netflix already, like everybody has Netflix. But it's the fact that these shows aren't released until they come out completely, and they're released in chunks.
Yeah. Fate Apocrypha will have its first batch released on November 7th. 4 months from when the series begins, we will finally have the ability to legally watch the anime.
And I mean, I understand that Netflix doesn't have the model to put out. Well, I mean, no, they do. They do, actually. They have a show that comes out once a week. They have the model to simulcast, but they just don't do it. And I don't know if they want to dub it so they have both available, and that's why it comes out way later. But at the same time, either just have the sub available, like Funimation does, or used to do, before they started simuldubbing. Release the show, and then release the dub.
See, when I first got into this very passionate rant, I was actually on the line with Binks, our good friend, and he was talking about how Netflix has already come out and said that it's very tough for them on a technical level to not to simulcast, but to update their catalog frequently. And I'm not sure if he was just referring to the entire catalog, or even if they just have to do one show, they have to do everything, or whatever. He said that it's very difficult for them, almost near impossible, to update more often than they already do because of how expansive their catalog is.
Yeah.
My counter argument to that is we have an industry standard. Amazon, Crunchyroll, Funimation, My Anime List has their own streaming, which I think they do through various partners. They all have an industry standard that you simulcast the series as it airs, and then you catalog it for future viewing. If you cannot, on a technical level, meet that industry standard, then I don't think that Netflix should be in this market, because it just ruins everything for the rest of us, and they're directly feeding into the demand for illegal sites to stream the anime, which then means that the people who want to watch the series as it airs are going to pirates and not officially licensed streams, so now no money that gets gained at all goes back to the anime industry.
Yeah, I mean, I agree that they don't have a good model so far, and it's not up to the standard that the other companies are giving to like the fans in the US at the moment. Like Crunchyroll, Funimation, Amazon, and Amazon does not do that great of a job. So it's kind of sad that Netflix is this far behind even Amazon, to the fact that they release it way after, and it's making people want to just not be patient and watch it as it comes out, and getting the same type of standard that they are somewhere else. And I understand their catalog may be big, but they already have a show that comes out once a week, so they do have the technology in place to have a show that comes out once a week. So why can't they have a show that comes out simultaneously once a week with the other shows that are coming out? I feel like it's more of an excuse that they can't update than they're allowing it to be. And I know that Netflix may be a wider audience, and it might be getting it to a wider audience, but at the same time, I feel like Netflix is really stuck in their binge watching model with all their other shows and their originals and stuff like that. That they like putting things out all at once because they think that's what everyone wants. Whereas the anime industry, people, if they know it's out, they want to watch it. Take Attack on Titan, for example. I'm sure that a lot of websites, if they had Attack on Titan, they got much higher traffic through their site the past few months when Attack on Titan came out, compared to before when they didn't have a show that maybe a certain person would be interested in seeing.
Yeah.
It just seems like Netflix does not have the right idea on all of this. And I understand they're trying to get in the anime market, they're trying to make it more mainstream, and they want to be part of it because, I mean, there's money to make there, especially with big shows like Fate. Fate is a huge show where people are going to want to watch it.
Yes.
So waiting till November, like you said, it's really hard to hold out.
Exactly.
But I'm interested.
Hmm?
I'm still interested in seeing Fate, but like you said, waiting till November is going to be rough. It really will.
Well, the only thing is for me, if at this point, and I'm not condoning the action, and I'm not going to judge you if you do, but at this point, I'm almost tempted to just try to find the best site that I can and get a pirated stream of the series, because I want to watch it, and I don't want to wait till November, because by the time November comes around, I'm going to see all the memes, I'm going to see all the screenshots, I'm going to see all the spoilers. Everyone's going to be talking about it because everyone stream, and they're going to want to talk about it with their friends online and on message boards and on Twitter, and everything's going to be ruined for me by the time November actually comes around, or I'm just going to forget about it because there's going to be 30 more shows that are going to come out in the fall.
Yeah,
And I get it. Netflix probably tossed a lot of money to get some of these series. Like, I guarantee you Fate was not a cheap series to get the license to, especially if you're exclusively going to stream it.
Yeah, and I understand. I feel like what Netflix is trying to do is, like I said before, get it to a wider audience of people so that more people may like see anime, get more into anime, understand, help that industry grow. But at the same time, the way with Crunchyroll and Funimation, how they have that deal now where basically all the shows come to each other. And Funimation does more on dubs and Crunchyroll does subs. But Crunchyroll and Netflix need to somehow have some sort of communication where why doesn't Crunchyroll and Funimation do the sub and dub, and then it comes to Netflix? So they have the sub and dub for Netflix already done. Netflix just needs to be like a distributor and less of a licensing company.
And I think it's because they want that exclusive, like, you have to watch it on Netflix. They want that label to it. But I just really want to know, like, I would love to get the analytics of the anime that is on Netflix's catalog as like exclusive titles, like Seven Deadly Sins, I think K's a Funimation, but like Seven Deadly Sins, that's an exclusive anime. I would have liked to know, like, how popular was that series and how popular is Fate going to be when it eventually releases on Netflix? How popular is it? How many people are actually watching it? How many episodes are people watching before they finally stop? Like, was it worth it? Because on Crunchyroll, you can get they have 532,000 followers on Twitter. Now, I'm not sure how many of those are bots and people who just don't really check up at all. You can probably give or take tens of thousands of voters or followers. But every single week, Crunchyroll releases like, hey, this episode just launched, or hey, we just added this to our catalog, or hey, this is a simulcast. And every single week, you will get a reminder that that show exists and that it airs. That's 500,000 potential viewers receiving a reminder every single week that your show exists. And then you can put it on Netflix, where I honestly, this might just be my own misconception, but I would feel like the people who watch anime on Netflix are probably more casual viewers, and there's nothing wrong with that. But they're not going to want to watch it like as it comes out. They're going to want to binge watch it. They're not going to be upset if they have to wait 4 months for it. But there's hundreds of thousands of people who want to subscribe to something like Crunchyroll who are ultimately going, a good handful are going to go off to pirate sites and then not watch it anywhere else because they're already going to know what happens and they've already got to enjoy the series. So now the pirates made all the money off of it and Netflix is just kind of getting the sloppy set. But I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. And I definitely see what you mean by people want to be part of the conversation, and that is what the difference between a casual viewer and someone who's actually really into the whole industry and want the industry to grow. But I guess I would need to see more analytics and stuff. How much is this actually helping anime studios? How much is this like helping the industry in general? Is it better for it to come to Crunchyroll? Like, what is the reason why they really wanted this exclusive so much that it would come to this? And I think we both agree that Netflix is just not the place we want to see shows that we want to have be simulcast show up, because obviously they're not going to be simulcast.
Exactly. And I mean, we already know that the anime industry has a lot of issues. In fact, we actually have a news article right here where on May 19th, the NHK, I think that's like a broadcasting company or something in Japan, but they're talking about how in 2015, these are probably newer numbers because this is a very recent news article, 25% of anime studios lost money. We just now got like the news article today where a big studio that used to be very popular in 3 years has lost so much money and gained so much debt that they eventually had to declare bankruptcy. And there's a lot of issues. Like there's a lot, and we could probably have an entire topic discussing all of the issues that the anime industry faces. But one of the things that could really help is mitigating the demand for the illegal streams that siphon money away from the anime studios, the artists, the distributors, the producers, the streaming sites, and removing them from the picture as much as you can. The less pirates there are, the less motivation there are to go to pirates, the better. And Netflix just isn't helping.
Yeah, the way you do that is go to the sites that people are on, like Crunchyroll and Funimation.
And I would be okay with Netflix doing something like you said, like have Crunchyroll and Funimation do the subs and the dubs and have them simulcast it. And then, I'm not sure if this is something that Crunchyroll and Funimation would be interested in doing. But then maybe you could work it out where you get exclusive streaming rights after everything has already aired. I think that would be a fair compromise because ultimately I like what you think Netflix is, like you said, I think Netflix is trying to get into the anime industry because they think it can be a big market.
Yeah.
And they want to get people into it.
Mm-hmm.
And if they want to exclusively have a show after it's all aired, it's all out there, and they want to have the entire catalog for themselves, I think that would be more than fair. I'm not upset with that. Like, Seven Deadly Sins is on Netflix. I'm okay with that because Seven Deadly Sins is years old. It's already done airing. anyone who wants to watch it can easily go to Netflix and have everything they need. They can binge watch the entire thing. It's a great place to go. Just not for stuff that's currently airing week by week, unless, of course, they wanted to change their current model so that when they pick up these exclusive shows, they match the industry standards and they air it week to week. That way, people don't feel as inclined to go to pirate sites because a lot of people have a Netflix subscription. A lot of people might be willing to get a Netflix subscription because then they can get their simulcast and so much more.
Mm-hmm.
But until they can fix this issue, they're really kind of just feeding into the problems. And if the problem is addressed, we could get into a point in time when the anime industry is healthy and there won't be much motivation for them to make and license content. Because if there's no money in it and pirates are making all the cash, then what's the point? There's no reason to supply it if you're not going to profit from it. So I think mitigating that interest in pirate sites is a good place to start. And I would really like Netflix to take a good look at themselves and either say, we can't do it for whatever reason, we're going to have to drop out of the currently airing anime market and go to something that we can actually work with catalogs, or be like, we can make this better. We can simulcast too. Let's do that.
Agreed. So hopefully Netflix can fix that. All right, this has been episode 2 of the Animation Podcast. You can check us out on SoundCloud and possibly YouTube in the future. I'd really like to get that started, so maybe Shep and I can do that. You can also check us out on iTunes. So please comment and like a video and just listen in general. And hope you enjoy. See you later, guys.
Bye.
Hey everybody, and welcome to episode 2 of the Animation Podcast. Wait, we probably should I probably should say season 2 episode 2.
Yeah, probably Jake.
Are you ready? Are you ready for this? I'm ready. Hey everybody, and welcome to episode 2. Fuck.